Atlantia vivere, Algarta vivere, Shambhala vivere, Lemuria vivere. My dear friends, I am unshaved today. And I am unshaved because I have played EVE Online. I have found it with 24.99 euros. Spent a lot of money. I was left with only 260 lions in my account. Approximately $100 to live for another 2 weeks. And I did that. So there was a big reduction there. Today's Black Friday. And there are some big savings on all sites, especially on Steam, and I have to buy Nexus with $2.99 and with $9.99 maybe on Origin I should buy Titanfall. But I was again drawn for the 4th time into EVE Online, and I spent a lot of time in this game in order to figure out how to manage my relationship with Artemis or with Britney Spears. You know, she wants to show to me, you want, my dear sister, to demonstrate to me that you can take a young nation like the Americans and shave off thousands of years of evolution and make them behave like they are us, like they are the center of Atlantis. And you can't do that. You cannot nullify thousands of years just because you want so. Yes, you want to prove to me that you're better, that you deserve, that you're equal, that you're better than me, that you deserve to be as president of Atlantis, because you have this small frustration that you have worked less than I did, but you have worked more intensively on the other hand, leading our holy people. On the other hand, I took a torn up nation, some coward people who stayed in their cowardice for 6,000 years, and I wanted to shave off 6,000 years of evolution or involution and make them Atlanteans again. It is not possible. There are some things that a man can do and some things that a man cannot do. And the woman told me, yes, this is the problem with you, man. This is exactly the problem. But you know, I am getting very close to my 6,000 day mark, and now things began to be very serious and very dangerous for other people. Like when Axamene asked me after working 6,000 days building Troy, and I did not realize then, yes, that was the ancient age, the slave age. Those people were a poor tribe. I should not behave so rashly with them. Now I must understand that Romania is a medieval country. I should leave them alone, but I cannot. I always want more. This is because Axamene asked me, are you a man or a great god? And I said, well, I'm a great god because you cannot pull me from my bracers. I have worked for 40,000 years for Atlantis. You have not seen that, blah blah blah. But he only wanted a confirmation that I still consider myself human, and I am still consider myself human. And people of Romania want to prove to me that I'm still human. That is why they removed some of my teeth. I want to remove what? 5 more teeth to go, 3 already gone. Oh. You know, in this existence I have amassed a lot of power here in Romania, and so I'm willing to split with her. Actually, I'm very willing, but I'm waiting something from Artemis. Artemis has amassed a great fortune in money, and she also doesn't want to part with them, to give me them some, because she expects some recognition from me. I expect her to give me money, she expects from me to give her power. And we are all blocked. Both of us, we are like living dead, we are blocked. And you know, I have received a message from Evelyn Roth she's a nice girl, and I'm that vampy girl, 200, 300 years old, and she showed up her age when I wrote to her on Facebook. She says, considering that you brought me a flower and blah blah blah. Yes, she was a little bit threatening, but she showed up her age on that message. And I also have to show, we have to get out from because this blocking comes from the fact that we are pretending ourselves. I know how to behave like a child, I know how to behave like a young man who is chasing after women and young girls and blah blah blah, but I don't know how to behave like a young man who is becoming mature, and he's young mature man age 35. I don't know this. When I am reaching this age, my tendency is to grab all my 4 million years of experience and pull them down into my behavior. And this is what my sister Artemis does. And we need a period of readjustment that we have. And we also have our mad ideas into our head that we want reality to be like this, like this, like this, and it is not like this. Because we have made some mistakes in the past which we don't want to recognize. That is precisely the reason why I was inclined towards philosophy and desperation, and I ignored the sport and blah blah blah, and my sister Artemis was inclined towards sport, youth and blah blah blah, and she ignored philosophy, the advantage of being old, of having more experience, of working with artists and blah blah blah, and so on, and with diplomats. So we must compete with each other. It is really stupid. If we can exchange places, maybe I should take all the money of Artemis and he should take all my power. And indeed, I will tell you, dear Britney, dear Artemis, dear Britney Spears, regardless of what you will do, I shall pass now on to you the energy of Apollo, my divine sword here, the sword of Artemis, this one. And you are now, I am no longer the president of Atlantis, you are the president of Atlantis. I am no longer the praetor of the Great Council of Atlantis, you are now the praetor of the Great Council. Yes, I should say some words, when we put our hands like that on that staff, and that swears in the good sense, that oath that we take. I swear to dedicate all my energy to the great accomplishment, ethical accomplishment of the Atlantean plate, blah blah blah. But this is not it. This is not the core. The core is democracy and freedom. Linux is a very free system. Or when I am playing in Linux, and when I'm using Linux, I always feel free. But Linux has come. It is very disorganized. It doesn't have proper wine support, proper Windows application support. I cannot play my games. My camera doesn't work. My TV tuner does not work. The applications broke themselves because each one is using a different library, different version of the library, so everything is a mess. On the other hand, if you move on the Mac, you have absolutely no freedom. The Mac kills your inner child, because each of us has an inner child who wants to explore the world. And the Mac, presents the Unix system in a way good to a child, but it doesn't let you do anything but what it allows you to do. So you can only use the processes that it wants to be. You can only have the experience that they want to have, that Steve Jobs wanted you to have. You can only use the application in a certain way. You are bounded, you are restricted on walled garden and so on. Windows is on the middle. There are plenty of problems on Windows. You have to take care of them. You have a little bit of freedom. You have a lot of viruses and so on. The idea is that even in Evil Online we have a lot of evil people who are scamming anyway. And I don't want to dwell into that talk. You can find the EVE Online Fan Fest on YouTube. I have reached the battleship, in my previous incarnation in April frigate, destroyer, cruiser, battleship. And if I go further, I will reach at the end of 219 days of training the Titan, which is extra large, the carrier, the supercar, the jam freighter, the carrier, the dreadnought, which are all extra large ships and cannot be docked into stations, which means that anyone can attack them while you're gone, which means you need to work with other people, you need to have outs, you need to have multiple accounts, you need to pay a lot of money, you need to have multiple computers, you need to have, there are fleets of people made of only one person who has giant screen of each screen. Each screen there is a different version of some application. He's working like a monkey on multiple keyboards, and he converges all his fleets made of different ships of his own. Because if you take a contract to make a courier, you have to protect that freighter with a dreadnought, and you have to command two ships. Well, if I have 2 screens now, that doesn't matter. I will take a long vacation like people in Romania suggest me that I should. They want 2 things from me, to be employed to work like them, to consider myself human and not a great god. They don't know my history, and to take a long vacation. So I will take a vacation for the rest of my life, and I give them all my power, because I have to use this remote control. We can no longer resort to the method of the past. It is clear to me that I will probably never meet Britney Spears or Artemis. Anyway, and I know that she was disturbed by the fact that I made all this information public. I made it public because people need to know, not because I wish to hurt her. I know that she's blocked, like I am blocked, and we have to get out of our blockage, and getting out, we have to recognize the reality. Consciousness meaning the Americans are young and violent people, they have lots of money, they have developed, they have built a great society, good for them. On the other hand, and now I have this thing that I have to go to visit our troops in Afghanistan, and the only way to do this is to use an American Hercules transport, because people in Romania are secretive, they don't want to reveal to the world that we have flying saucers. So I have to ask them nicely to allow me. But then the Americans have some ideas that you have to be servant to us. Yes, and I had a little confrontation with Tsipras. I said, well, I will not go with your transport. And he said to me, then you will never know. Then you will never go. And then Alex Manea said, well, you have to go to visit our troops. And I said, well, but I will be supporting the American invasion. He said, yes, but if you would be 40 years old, you would understand that you have to support our troops to encourage our boys, blah, 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 because it is about the Romanian people, blah, 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 because Klaus Iohannis is a cold German, he doesn't want to do so you will be the prime minister, blah, 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 and you must do this, blah, blah, blah. And so I must apologize. Please forgive me, allow me. Oh, dear Romanians, please don't be so secretive. Show your technology to the world. You don't want to be poor. Yes, you want to have a lot of money. If you want to have a lot of money, you have to sell your technology, you have to give out your technology to the world. If you don't trust the other people won't trust you, and you will remain poor forever. This is also an issue with me. I also have an issue with trust in you, especially after you have broken my hand, my leg, and my denture, my teeth. So, if you don't want things to get dangerous, really dangerous, because I will get very serious with you, become yourselves. If you don't become yourselves, then I will become myself. I already did. So, Artemis, darling, dear Britney Spears, we both have to become ourselves. Give me those money, give me how much money you want to give, and let us meet, let us have this ceremony if you want. If you don't want, I already passed the power to you, or if you're unable, if you're restrained, because you also have an issue with trust, and the people around you have an issue with trust, and the Illuminati have an issue with trust, and Sharon Carter has an issue with trust. We are all untrusty individuals. Perhaps we should trust and love more, because I have reached the purity in the test of Agatha, and purity means reaching yourself. I am now in the 16th cycle, which is a cycle of blah blah blah, the great supreme uncreated God, blah blah blah. Of course, I will not reach the end, blah blah blah, because the end means that I am and I am not, blah blah blah, and that's it. So, trust yourself, trust others, trust myself, trust others. Be yourself, I am myself, blah blah blah, let us meet, blah blah blah. I have given you the powers, you are not the president, the true petrol of Great Council, and I will support you in all your decisions, blah blah blah. I will support the American people, blah blah blah. We have a great alliance, blah blah blah. I shall go to Afghanistan, blah blah blah. Goodbye.